Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Don Lemon Show. Welcome to Hot Topics, 10 a.m. Eastern Time, just a little bit behind, not that much. Well, for me, I'm sure you guys are like, here's Don is back. We're late. Actually, I'm late for a good reason because I was just trying to get caught up on what's going on in the world. I actually don't know that much. My producers have been doing a great job. Peter, Andy, Nikki, I mean, just fantastic job of keeping everything going. I've been so proud of them. I have to be honest and tell you guys I have not been watching a lot, but yeah, thank you guys for welcoming me back. So I'll talk to you a little bit about, what has been going on in my life. I'm sure you guys can possibly maybe imagine a little bit, but honestly, it's been hell. It has not been a good time for me. It's not been a good time for my family. And, I've been trying to get back, but then I just wasn't ready to get back. So thank you. Yes, they did do a fantastic job. Yes, and I am back in the building, May Money. So I'm here. As you guys know, my sister did pass. She died, and we had her funeral on Saturday. And I'm going to write about it. I'm going to write about it on the Substack, and you guys will get to because I think it'll help people. You'll get to hear about it. But I gave a eulogy and was a pallbearer, so it was heart-wrenching. And I just needed some time to breathe. And yeah, so hopefully I can get through this because, again, it's been really tough. And I've been trying to distract myself a little bit and also trying to take care of my mom and my family because this is hard. I mean, any parent who loses a child knows, but my mom has now lost 2 children, both of her girls, since 2018. And I'm it. So I got to keep healthy. I'm drinking my 120 Life, which I'll talk to you about, that I do every day now. And I'll just tell you how I've been doing a little self-care and been thinking about, of course, mortality and health and all of those things. But even though I don't know a lot of what's going on in the world, which I think is, quite honestly, it's been really healthy in a way because you get to prioritize things. And you realize, as I always tell you guys, you don't have to sit in front of the television or in front of every single, update or, alert that you get on your phone and have it rule your world. And so I've been dipping in to sort of see, a couple of things I just take up and say, okay, what's a little thing that's going on? And it is so clear to me when you step back and you're not too close to it of just the outrageousness of this administration, and quite frankly, how the media is dropping the ball, and they are really not understanding the sentiment of everyday Americans out there. My God, and thank you everyone for everything. Thank you. But my God, people are not stupid. People know what's going on in this world. People are like, this is crazy. I cannot believe it. And they tell me exactly what's happening, even in red South Louisiana, where I grew up. People are not stupid. And even if they are Trump supporters, they are concerned about what is happening. And it is so completely obvious. The desperation of this administration is so blatantly obvious to everyone except for the media and for the MAGA folks, like the real diehards. And as I said, even the diehards are coming around going, oh God, I don't know. When you go to the store and you go to buy an egg, have you guys gone to buy eggs or a sandwich and you get there and it says $1? This happened to me in Louisiana. There was $1 surcharge per egg. If you wanted an egg on your sandwich or on your salad or whatever. People know. Again, the only people who don't know seem to be the people who are working hard every single fucking day to normalize this shit and to try to pretend that, okay, how do we analyze this so that I keep my job? Or that, I don't know, to try to pretend that there's really something to talk about. Do you guys understand what I'm saying? Where you live, don't you think it is obvious? Yes, there are a few people who are still, under the cult, zombie cult. Oh, well, he is whatever. And there are people, but most people are like, you know what? I get it. And they're wondering why. Why do they tune in every single night just to see people fighting? Or why do they tune in every single night to see people carrying water for this fucking idiot? This man is an idiot. So the two most important stories that I'm going to talk to you about, well, there's one that people are really interested in that we are going to discuss, and that's Diddy. They want to know what's happening in that trial, right? I know you guys want to know that. But the other thing is tariffs. People aren't stupid about these tariffs. They know that Donald Trump, this was not a win for them. And the other thing is this South African farmer bullshit, which is the most blatantly obvious racist shit ever. It is, there's no question about it. There's no discussing it. There's no nothing. It is blatantly obvious the way that we treat white South Africans, who, by the way, for the most part, and I am generalizing here, some of the wealthiest people are well-to-do people in the country. They speak their language. They own most of the land and the property. And somehow they're being granted a fast track to become Americans while they're trying to cut down on immigration from other countries. You get that from where? From the brown people. It's so obvious that I don't understand why people are trying to normalize it. And I don't understand, quite frankly, why people are okay with it. And maybe because it is so blatantly obvious that you're like, I can't be seeing this. Like, this can't be real. It is really unbelievable. So first of all, let me tell you, everything that you're hearing about tariffs, I'm going to tell you, is all a lie. Like when you turn on the news and they say there's a deal, Donald Trump made a deal with China. That is a goddamn lie. There is no deal with China. He paused because he blinked. He paused because he created a solution in search of a problem. There was the problem that he claimed to fix. He didn't fix it. There's no proof or no evidence. He's actually in a worse place than he was before. But if you turn on the news, you're like, wait a minute, what the hell is this? A 90-day pause? That's not a deal. That's taking the clock back to where he was 90 days ago, whenever he started these tariffs or whatever, it was a month ago. That's taking it back. He's even in a worse position than before the tariffs. Because he has created instability in the markets. He's fucked up the economy. He has people around the world going, what the hell is going on? He hasn't ended any wars. And he's being blatantly obvious about who he's allowing in this country and who he is not. It is unbelievable that people are actually falling for this shit. And as I'm watching the news reports, I just watched a couple of news reports, and I was like, this is what's happening with Donald Trump, and there's a deal for China. There is no deal. When I heard, what's his name, Scott Bessent, at the summit saying, we've been talking to this person, we've been doing this, and we've come up with a deal. I said, there's no deal. You know what they're going to say? I knew it. They're going to say that they have paused and that they're having great talks, and that is what's going on. And that is exactly what he said. We have paused the tariffs. We've backed off. And so thus we have a deal. No, you don't have a fucking deal. You don't have a deal until you sign something that says a deal would be like China has relented, and they are now going to stop charging as much for this, or they're going to take their tariffs off of the forever, and the tariffs go away, but yet we're going to continue to implement our tariffs, and we're going to pay less, and they're going to pay more. None of that has happened. And the media it's like a fish on a hook. They just keep going, like a fish on a fucking hook. And just, okay, how do we do this? We can't say that, because then the bosses will get mad at us because we're not allowing any sort of leeway or oxygen for Donald Trump to say that he made a deal. Well, that's what Scott Bessent said. He made it. We can just say, well, Scott Bessent said he made a deal. No, Scott Bessent lied to you. He did not make a deal. There is no deal. If you are listening and you are a Trumper or you are a dumb MAGA brain fucking idiot, then I'm going to tell you that you are out of your mind. There is no deal. Are you looking? All the cameras. There is no deal. Donald Trump blinked. Donald Trump relented. Donald Trump did not get a deal on the table, and now he is scrambling. And that stupid press conference that he held yesterday, where he just rambled about nonsense, is just outrageous. Every single day he comes out with some bullshit, some nonsense, and that nincompoop numbskull in the White House. Yes, I said it. What's her name? Caroline Leavitt. Every day she comes out with this crazy shit. You know what the real White House briefing is? Is when you sit there and you listen to all of those dumb people that are in the alternate media or new media group. That is the real White House press briefing. The one that happens with the mainstream media is not it. Nothing comes out of that except for talking points, except for the administration trying to shape the news, trying to bullshit you every single moment, and they fall for it. Do not fall for the okie doke. I'm sorry. And none of it is real. Nothing that they say is real. Here's the deal. Since I've been gone, he is falling down on tariffs, no deals. It's obvious that he's concerned about the markets and the economy. His approval rating is dropping, and he is out of his mind. That is what is happening in the country. Not all of this other performative shit that you see, all of this, this is what's happening, all of the shenanigans, as they say, all the smoke and mirrors, as you guys are saying in the comments. None of that. It is a show every single day. And every time I look at something, I'm like, why are they framing it this way? Why are they afraid just to say, Donald Trump backed off? Donald Trump lost on this deal. Donald Trump is scrambling when it comes to this. Instead, maybe it's because they have to fill time. I believe it's because they have to give oxygen to their shareholders, to their bosses who are conservative, or even if they're not conservative, the only thing that they care about is money. And so they don't want to piss off the administration. That's what's happening. And so that is who you're getting your news from. That is why it's important for me to sit here every day. That's why I wanted to come back. I did not have the energy to come back, but every single day I kept thinking, as I sat there, like the TV would be on in the background as I would sit there with my sister, and I would just flip through, not even with the sound up. And I would just go, this is crazy. This is why people in America are so uninformed. It's because they sit here in front of this television and they watch this bullshit all day long on a wheel, and they just keep hearing the same thing. And every once in a while, there are a few voices who try to break through. But those voices get squashed. Those voices get pushed and marginalized, or pushed off of the air. In the meantime, you got the MAGA people that they're paying more money, giving raises to, and who are insulting people on television. Jamel Hill was on the other day. I heard she was on CNN, and that the conservative commentator just insulted her, not only her intelligence, but just personally attacking her. And that person is promoted and lauded for doing such a thing. And that does not happen with centrist voices, with logical people, with people who don't just want to insult people, with people who want to tell you the truth. And I sat there, and finally, it's like I don't know who's more conservative on cable news anymore. Is Fox really? The thing is that at least, and people used to say this when I was in cable news, at least Fox News is transparent about who they are and what they're doing. A lot of the other people, it's just a wink and a nod, where they're pretending to be something that they are not. And that is not objective. It is, we're going to go where the money is. We're going to go where the crowd is. We're going to go what's best, do what's best for the company and for the bottom line of the shareholders. It's not about you, the American people. It's not about informing you. It's not about giving you knowledge of what's going on with this whole bullshit when it comes to South African farmers. It's none of that. It is really, it is, you have to forget there is a corporate, very corporate business side of what is going on in America in every single industry. Every single industry, from the oil industry, the oil and gas industry, to the media, to, I mean, not just the news media, to sports, to the people who sell your movies, or you get movies from, the flicks of the world, or whatever it is, all of those. It's all a giant business to just lull you in, to get your money, not to really inform you. Yes, there are exceptions. Thank you very much, 60 Minutes. Thanks for having some fucking balls, the people who work there. Thank you for that. But for the most part, it is just, well, okay, we don't want to talk about the government. We don't want to talk about, why don't we can just talk about entertainment. Let's talk about Diddy. See, my dog agrees with me. Let's talk about this. Let's do that. Let's just soft pedal bullshit to the American people. And I always tell you, it is, thank you, Sonia, ratings, ratings, ratings. And I always tell you guys, you don't have to, if a restaurant is not serving what I want, if I go to a seafood restaurant, they're going to say, all we have is steak. I'm going to go, why am I here? I don't want steak. I came here for seafood, and now you're giving me steak. If they are not serving you what is of your best interest, then why are you there? And so to sit and watch is so frustrating. Even the coverage of the Pope, of all people, I sat there and I said, well, when are they going to get to the fact? Because it would just be on in the background, because I didn't really dig into it. But I kept saying, when are they going to get to the fact that the Pope is probably black? The Pope is, if he comes from the 7th Ward, if his folks are from the 7th Ward, and they are mulattoes or whatever you want to call them, Creole, you know what that means, right? And every single person who has been granted the opportunity to speak for the Pope, do you think that that was either the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, or any of the questions that they asked him, that they talked to him about? Especially in a country where we deal with so much stuff, where we're dealing with white South Africans being granted a path to citizenship, a fast track, when we are removing brown and black people from this country. Do you think, what do you think Creole means? What do you think that shit means? It doesn't just mean French. Take it from a person who grew up there. Take it from the people who were at my sister's funeral. Some of the folks who were at my sister's funeral, if they walked into this room or walked into a room with you, you would not know if they were white. You would think that they were white. You would think that there are members of my family who are white. And then once they open their mouths, you're like, oh, okay. I have a family member that looks just like Mitch Landrieu. I'm like, oh my God, Peter, you remind me, not you, Peter, the producer, but my other friend, Peter. I said, oh my God, you sound just like Mitch Landrieu. You look just like Mitch Landrieu. And they go, I know, people think that I'm white or whatever. You would not know. But they're black. Or as they say in the South, but they black. The folks I went to school with, especially the kids I went to elementary and junior high school with at the Catholic school at St. Francis Xavier, you would have no idea. My grandmother was a mulatto. You wouldn't know. You would not know. My aunt, no, you would know. But trust, the Pope, everybody, let me just break it to you in case the news. Breaking news. Breaking news, everyone. The Pope is black. Okay? And if I had the opportunity to talk to the Pope, I would say, the Pope, hey, Pope, talk to me about your black ancestry. Talk to me about your ethnicity. You're black. Do you have a DNA test? And why does that matter? It matters because we live in a country where this matters to people. It matters for equality. It matters to what? To level the playing field when it comes to race, to get people to understand that there are people from different ethnicities, that the Pope can actually be black, that perhaps maybe the skin color or whatever it is shouldn't matter so much to people. Perhaps that will educate some folks, especially the MAGA people who pretend that there is no racism or institutional racism in this country. that we don't come from a background of slavery, where it matters because the Pope is black because of the South, where what? The Civil War, where there was slavery. It matters. Those things don't matter. Why would you have to ask about it? Yeah, it matters. It matters because every single day as I'm in the chapel, in the church, and I'm praying in the hospital, or I'm going by, and there is this picture, these pictures that are all over in these statues that have Jesus who looks like a white fucking surfer. And we know that that is not what Jesus looked like. We know that Jesus was a dark, swarthy man. He was a Jew. He was not a blonde surfer that looks like he just stepped off of a beach in California. So Pope, why does that matter? It matters because what? Because of the Christian and European interpretation of the Bible and of the scriptures. Somehow Jesus is now transracial, has been transformed to a dark Jewish man to a white Christian looking surfer dude with long flowing straight hair. And it is not, it is the exact opposite of what Jesus is. That's why it matters, Pope. So that's why I'm telling you, you are being lulled into this whole thing to pretend that America and the world is something that it is not. Do not get me started. So we're going to talk about South Africa, and we're going to talk about all the other things that we have to discuss. But I do have to tell you that I'm so happy. In this cup, let me tell you what I have in this cup, okay? Because today we have the support of 120 Life. And I've been wanting to talk to you about 120 Life for a couple of weeks now. So as you guys may or may not know, everyone who wants to be a sponsor in this program, I get them to send me a sample, or I get to sample or test their services or their goods in some way. So this 120 Life is amazing because what it's been doing, it is helping me to what? To sort of get my blood pressure and my blood levels in check. It's got all of this stuff. Every morning, Tim says, hey, do you want your red juice, your beet juice, your pomegranate juice, or whatever? And I'm like, yes. And so either you can do the powder where you can stir the water, and then I have the little bottles that I'm out of and I have to order some more. But it levels your blood sugar and everything. It is really, really, really good. So I'm going to get back and I'm going to talk about the news, but let me just talk to you about, because here it is. I don't know if you can see it. I don't want to spill anything. But there it is. It's red, and it's not bitter. It's actually really, really, really delicious. Okay, so support for the Don Lemon Show today comes from 120 Life. Do you know what? That high blood pressure is the number one risk factor for mortality. It's high blood pressure. Trust me, I know. I've been doing a lot of research as it comes to health lately, especially dealing with my family and my sisters. Do you know that high blood pressure is the number one risk factor for mortality? 1 in 2 adults has it. That is a 50-50 chance that you're a walking time bomb. I'm just telling you the truth. But here's the good news. You can take control of your blood pressure naturally without relying on big pharma. You can do it naturally. Number one, you can lower your stress and your anxiety. And number 2, you can take 120 Life. It is a blend of great tasting superfruit juices that have been shown to actually help lower your blood pressure. It is not just for high blood pressure. It's also beneficial for your health conditions like diabetes. 120 Life is trusted by health professionals, with hundreds of doctors recommending it to help manage blood pressure naturally. And so listen, I'm telling you the truth. I would not, I don't steer you wrong, and I speak the truth. Ever since I've been taking this for a couple of weeks now, I feel better about my health. People say, what's going on? Your skin looks better. I'm not wearing a lick of anything, no powder, no nothing. I just haven't shaved. There's nothing. I have nothing on. Look at that. Nothing. And so my skin looks better. I feel better. My temperatures are regulated. I don't sleep and sweat so much. So here is what you do. It provides visible, measurable changes in blood pressure. You can use of a simple monitor at home to track progress. Okay, so here's what you do. For a limited time, you can try 120 Life and save 20% off. Just use the code DON at checkout at 120life.com. 120 Life offers a risk-free trial with a full refund if you don't see lower numbers in 2 weeks. So it's a guarantee. If you don't see those lower numbers in 2 weeks, then you can get your money back. Go to 120life.com and use the code DON to save 20%. There is nothing to lose except your high blood pressure numbers. Go to 120life.com and use the code DON to save 20% off. Remember, you must use code DON to get this special offer. Okay? This is your life we're talking about. This is serious, and 120 Life can help. Okay? So, anyways, it has been helping me. And I think, Nikki, I got to do BetterHelp, right, as well right now. Is that correct?
Yes, you do.
Yes, I do. Okay, Gus, do I have to do, the dog is barking. The dog is barking because he's in the crate. Tim, if you're listening, can you come home and close the door so that the dog will stop barking? Okay. The show is also sponsored by BetterHelp, which has been really, really, really helpful to me, especially over the last couple of weeks. And I had been talking to my mother. I'm going to get my mother set up with BetterHelp.com as well, because she is quite honestly not doing so well right now. And you know that your mental health is everything. Mental health awareness is growing. There's still progress that needs to be made. 26% of Americans who participated in a recent study said that they have avoided seeking mental health support due to fear of judgment. I don't know why. I like to take the stigma off of mental health. When people hesitate to get help, it doesn't just affect them. It impacts families, workplaces, and entire communities. The Mental Health Awareness Month, this is right now, May. So let's encourage everyone to take care of their well-being and break the stigma. The world is better when people are healthy and happy. So you guys know that I have benefited from this. You know that I talk about mental health all the time. So BetterHelp.com has over 10 years of experience matching people with the right therapist for their diverse network of more than 30,000 licensed therapists with a wide range of specialties. BetterHelp is fully online, making therapy affordable and convenient, serving more than 5 million people worldwide. Okay, you can easily switch therapists at any time. So here's what you do. If you want to just check it out, and it is, look, I'm telling you, there's nothing to lose here, okay? There's nothing to lose. You can just go check it out. I want you to visit betterhelp.com/Don Lemon and get 10% off of your first month. Again, I'm going to start my mom on it because she needs someone to talk to. I can't talk to her all the time. She can't get family all the time. People have lives, busy lives. And so that's betterhelp.com/Don Lemon and get 10% off of your very first month. That is the most important thing. Your physical health and your mental health. So let's get back to it. So here's what's happening. I want to show you, this is, and I'm going to tell you what's going on. I'm going to show you what is happening, and Donald Trump talking about what's happening in South Africa, saying that there's a genocide of white South Africans. Here it is.
Discrimination in their home country are heading to the United States, right, where your administration is going to welcome them as refugees. Now, this comes as you've halted virtually all refugee admissions for people fleeing famine and war from countries like Sudan and the Democratic Republic of Congo. Why are you creating an expedited path into the country for Afrikaners but not others?
Because they're being killed, and we don't want to see people be killed. Now, South Africa leadership is coming to see me, I understand, sometime next week. And, we're supposed to have I guess a G20 meeting there or something, but we're having a G20 meeting. I don't know how we can go unless that situation's taken care of, but it's a genocide that's taking place that you people don't want to write about, but it's a terrible thing that's taking place, and farmers are being killed. They happen to be white, but whether they're white or black makes no difference to me, but white farmers are being brutally killed, and their land is being confiscated in South Africa. And the newspapers and the media, television media, doesn't even talk about it. If it were the other way around, they'd talk about it. That would be the only story they'd talk about. And I don't care who they are. I don't care about their race, their color. I don't care about their height, their weight. I don't care about anything. I just know that what's happening is terrible.
Okay, let me tell you this. Donald Trump is ignorant. Donald Trump doesn't know what's going on. Either his people are lying to him, or he does not have enough sense to read on his own. And it could be all of the above. He is either being sold a story and told a story by some really ignorant and racist people in his administration, or that he's close to, or he is just lying, and not or, and. It can be and or. And this is some really racist shit. All right? Let's put up the Associated Press because there's some truth to that. There is no genocide of South Africans. And when here's the thing that galls me, okay, is that people don't like to throw around. They say, you cannot throw around that word genocide. It's not a genocide. You can't say this. It's not a genocide. There's not enough people dying. It's only But they will freely say it as it relates to South Africa. Now, I'm not saying that there should be using the word at all, but if you're going to use that word, then you should have the same standard for South Africa as you have for Israel and Gaza. If you're going to throw around the G word, because you freely want to throw it around when you want people to believe that it is happening in South Africa to white people, but you don't want to say it when folks say it's happening in Gaza to brown people. Oh, hey, Andy, is this microphone on?
It's on.
Okay, just want to check. Did you guys hear what I said? Did anybody hear what I said? Now, you know who else, before I get to this, you know who else said that to me? And I keep telling, more than a year ago. That's also one of my pet peeves when people say over and more than, and you get it wrong. Yeah. Anyways, more than a year ago, over a year ago, however you want to say, I sat down with Elon Musk, and it was very interesting to me because he asked me something. He said, do you care about, and I said, I care about suffering of all people, but because I wanted to allow him to continue on to say what he was going to say. But this is what he said to me when I talked about what was happening with racism and I think of immigration in this country. I forget the full context. And then he said this to me, and quite frankly, I sort of gasped inside. And my producers who were there with me were like, wait, what did he say? Like, that was the first thing they said after the interview. Did he say that there was a white genocide in South Africa? Watch. South Africa, I mean, look at what happened with apartheid. It seems to me that you should be someone who is more understanding of that, considering where you came from, considering your history.
Yeah. There's a slow white genocide going on in South Africa. Do you care about that?
Look, y'all. Let me tell you guys, I wasn't just born yesterday. I know what I'm doing. I've been doing this for a long time. And I love you guys, all of you folks who are out there, all of you lemon heads, all of you part of the Lemon Nation, people who stop me in the airport and you tell me that you're lemon head. And then you say to me, old people be knowing. So I am not ashamed to admit that I'm old. I'm an older person and I be knowing. And so when I asked that, when he said that, I was like, oh, wow. And no one even thought about it for a year until this administration now that Elon Musk has been involved with, Doge, is now talking about a white genocide in South Africa and allowing white people to be fast-tracked into this country. And guess who was the first person to put it on the radar, even though people did not want to pay attention? Oh, you have Trump derangement syndrome, or you're just a race baiter, all this stuff. Y'all better start supporting independent media more. And if you're listening and you are not a Trumper and you are a Democrat or a centrist, you need to start elevating independent media and supporting that ecosystem. Because those are the folks, we are the folks who are asking the questions. We are the folks who are out here on the front lines, trying to get you to understand, the American people to understand what is happening in this country. That was a signpost. I was seeing around corners for you saying, hey guys, This is what's happening. This is what's on the horizon. Are you paying attention? Knock, knock, knock. And instead, you want to go watch shows where people are just fighting and getting nothing accomplished. You want to go and bury your head in the sand and pretend like this shit is normal. Okay, go ahead and do it. But you guys need to start supporting independent media more. That's why I always tell you, you got to hit the like, you got to hit the like, you got to hit the thumbs up. That is really important to us who are sitting in these spaces, that the algorithm pushes us up to at least where we get some attention so that we can wake people up. Hey, guys, yo, you ever do that to people? Like when you see something happening, like something, you go, hey, look out. You see that thing is coming this way. Get out of the way. I'm not being hyperbolic. I'm trying to tell you, you better pay attention. Not better, as Christy Patterson says. Better. You better pay attention. And instead, you're just being lulled into, oh my gosh, there's this is okay. I'm telling you, it's all a trick. They are playing. These are shows and tricks. And do not fall for it. Let's read the article and let's get some facts. And this one, it doesn't really dig that deep into it. What to know as Trump brings a group of white South Africans to the U.S. as refugees. Okay, Andy, let's go through this, okay? So, the Trump administration brought a small number of white South Africans to the United States as refugees on Monday. They're going to continue to do it. They're going to bring more and more. And then all of a sudden, and this is outrageous, especially for the farmers, especially for the black farmers, pardon me, whose farms have been taken away from them, especially from those farmers, and who have been scooped up and gobbled up and diminished by the systemic racism in this country. Brought them to the United States as refugees on Monday, says to start a larger relocation effort for members of the minority Afrikaner group who are being persecuted by their black-led government because of their race. Okay, the 59 South Africans had their applications fast-tracked by the United States President Donald Trump, announced a relocation program in February. He said Monday that white Afrikaner farmers are facing a genocide. Again, they're using the genocide word, the G word, freely, liberally, as often as possible in their homeland, and allegations strongly denied by the South African government. Trump administration has taken an anti-migrant stance, suspending refugee programs and halting arrivals from other parts of the world, including Iraq, Afghanistan, and most countries in sub-Saharan Africa. So they're saying, okay, that's good, Andy. They're saying that these people are being persecuted where they are. Do you know how many people are persecuted in Africa? In other places? Do you know how many people are? How about people who are being terrorized by the Taliban? How about people in Gaza who are being terrorized by Hamas? Should we bring them here? Should we start bringing the black and the brown people who are being marginalized and terrorized and, quite frankly, unalived all over the world because of for whatever injustices that they have being suffered? Like he said, oh my gosh, I don't care if they're black or white. They always come to that, I don't give a shit if they're black or white. They do care, because they only care, and I'm generalizing, I'm talking about this administration and others, if it is white people that they think that are being mistreated. When quite frankly, again, as here in America, and this is according to folks who live there, people are in the know, the government, the playing field is being leveled, okay? And it's being leveled because let me give you some of the receipts. Because of what has been happening in the country of South Africa. Let me just tell you here, this is what, on March 7th, Trump took to Truth Social to announce he is offering white South African farmers, quote, a rapid pathway to U.S. citizenship. Because he says that they're being terrible to him. They're confiscating their land, subjecting them to, quote, much worse. Pointing out that South Africa's new land reform push, the Expropriation Act, signed into law last year, which lets the government take land without compensation if the property is not being used and there's no intention to either develop or make money from it. Okay? Now, I'm going to give you some context here. They're not just taking land away from white South African farmers. Here's the context. Apartheid didn't just segregate people. It was a land grab of an epic scale, on an epic scale. By the time it ended, this was back in 1994, for those of you who are long enough in the tooth to remember all of this, and what happened, apartheid in South Africa, the end of apartheid, and Nelson Mandela and the plight of Nelson Mandela, etc. White South Africans, about 9% of the population owned 87% of the fertile land. Okay? Today, Black South Africans make up more than 90% of the population, and they only hold, are you listening to me? About 4% of all privately owned land. The democratically elected government has been trying to fix this, but progress has been slow. So what they're trying to do is say, hey, we need to fix an historic injustice and figure out if you're not using that land to farm or for crops, then we need to have some of that land, not taking all of your entire farm. That's not what's happening. And we need to what? There needs to be equity. And now people are crying because the playing field is being leveled. And so therefore it is now discrimination. No different than what's happening here in this country. The playing field is being leveled. There's some equity, there's some justice, but oh my God, I'm being discriminated against. You're taking my billions and billions and billions of dollars or whatever. I mean, look, it's crazy. So the democratically elected government has been trying to fix this, but progress has been slow. What about these claims of genocide? According to the BBC, figures from South African police show that in 2024, now this is what they're calling a genocide, the G word. In 2024, 44 M words, unalives, were recorded on farms and smaller plots of agricultural land, with eight of those killed being farmers belonging to multiple racial backgrounds. So 44 of them, 8 were farmers. Multiple racial backgrounds. 8 deaths, that is now genocide? 8 deaths, genocide. Is that what's happening? So let's consider something else. I want you to rewind to 1865, the end of the Civil War. Black Americans newly freed were promised 40 acres and a mule. It was a glimmer of hope, a chance for the American dream. But what happened? President Andrew Johnson, a sympathizer to the Old South, said, nah, never mind. I'm trying to get you to understand what's going on there. He handed that land right back to the Confederate planters, leaving Black families with nothing but broken promises. And still, Black farmers are disenfranchised in this country. Still, Black farmers, they persevered. By 1910, about 1 million Black farmers owned 15 million acres, 15 millions, scraped together through sweat, grit, and sheer will. But that wasn't the end of the story, It was the beginning of the slow, deliberate theft. This is when Jim Crow came about. Remember, when Black people try to make progress in this country, that's when they come up with laws and ways to disenfranchise them and to hold on to white power. Jim Crow came about. Enter the lynch mobs, enter the USDA, the United States Department of Agriculture, which turned into a weapon against Black farmers. For decades, they denied loans to Black applicants while white farmers got handouts. Disaster relief after floods or droughts, white farmers got it, Black farmers got a shrug. Subsidies, same deal. By the 1980s, the USDA's own civil rights office found rampant discrimination, county officials laughing in Black farmers' faces, tossing their applications into the trash. I'm not just making this up. Read about it. In the 1990s, the Pickford v. Glickman lawsuit laid it bare. Thousands of Black farmers cheated out of billions in wealth, forced to sell their land or lose it to foreclosure. By 2000, those 15 million acres that I told you about, down to guess what? 1.5 million acres. 90% gone. What are the chances that these white South Africans will be given land formerly owned by Black American farmers. Stand by, because I'm not done with that, and I need to talk to you guys about tariffs, okay? So I brought props for class, because this is also something that a sponsor. You guys know I like seafood and fish because I grew up in the South, but I like it. So this is something that we have also been trying in our homes. You guys see this? We got our salmon here. We have our Pacific halibut here, and we have our coho salmon. Okay, and they come. It's so easy to fix, and they're frozen now. These are they're like bricks. You see the ice falling off of them. So as soon as I'm done, I'm going to put them right back. Oh, I'm so glad someone said I just ordered 120 Life. That was one. It's great. And this too, okay? So support from today's program comes to you from what? Wild Alaskan. This is Wild Alaskan, the Wild Alaskan Company. I'm telling you guys, it's so delicious, and it is wild, and it is, look, it's not farm raised and all that. It is so good. So thank you, Wild Alaskan. I've had some great dinners and lunches over the last couple of weeks, okay? So why should you do this? When was the last time, I want to ask you, thank you for the support, by the way, from Wild Alaskan Company. When was the last time that you truly trusted the seafood that you brought home? I know that there can be so much mercury and so many chemicals in the seafood. I know that from living in the South. We talk about it all the time. It's very, very important to my family. When was the last time you truly trusted the seafood you brought home? I used to question everything from nutrition and taste to sustainability until I discovered Wild Alaskan, the Wild Alaskan Company. It's a great company, guys. Wild Alaskan Company is the best way to get wild, caught, perfectly proportioned, nutrient-dense seafood delivered directly to your door. Trust me, you haven't tasted fish this good. It comes, I got a couple of different type fish in this box. It comes in a box. You can get whatever size, you get different sizes. Comes in a box, delivered right to your door. You throw it right in the freezer if you want, or I took it out right away and started cooking some. As a matter of fact, I think I'm going to make the ones that I have out now. I'm going to make us a nice, delicious lunch. You can eat it just as it is. You can do it with some veggies. You can put it on, look, I do a fish sandwich, as they say. I love doing fish sandwiches. And I also love doing, I like to do tuna, fish, and all that kind of stuff. So it is a fantastic company. Trust me, you haven't tasted fish this good, okay? 100% wild caught, never farmed. This means there are no antibiotics, there are no GMOs, there are no additives, just clean, real fish that support healthy oceans and fishing communities. Nutrient rich and full of flavor, Wild Alaskan fish is frozen off the boat to lock in taste, texture, and nutrients like omega-3s. You can taste the freshness, even though it comes to you frozen. It's such a different taste when you get it. Sustainability sourced, wild caught from Alaska. Every order supports sustainable harvesting practices, and your membership delivers flexible shipments, expert tips, and truly feel good seafood. Okay, so my favorite one is the cod. I like the cod, and I like the halibut as well. My favorite is just the cod and the halibut, and I like the cod and the halibut as well. Salmon is great, but I like a flakier, whiter crust, sort of a whiter kind of flakier fish. So if you're not completely satisfied with your first box, Wild Alaskan Company will give you a full refund, no questions asked, no risk, just high quality seafood. Okay, so not all fish are the same. Get seafood you can trust. Go to wildalaskan.com/lemon or get this $35 off of your first box of premium wild caught seafood. That's wildalaskan.com/lemon for $35 off your first order. That thanks to Wild Alaskan Company for sponsoring this episode. So thank you, Wild Alaskan. I appreciate that. So let's see. The Pacific cod. That's my favorite. There's sockeye salmon, there's coho salmon, there's Pacific cod, there's Pacific halibut, there's Pacific rockfish. Delicious. Okay, now another thing, a sponsor to our show. I'm telling you guys are fancy. You have sponsors all over the place. It's amazing. Let me tell you about this, because this one is really, really, really important to me. I told you that I have trouble sleeping. I've been having trouble sleeping, especially with everything that has been going on with my family. Okay, so I want to tell you about this company called Beam, B-E-A-M. Okay, B-E-A-M. And I think I told you guys that I took a sleeping pill the other night, and that I was groggy and that I was hungover, and this was before my sister, when she was in the hospital, and I wasn't telling you guys about it, and I wasn't sleeping well. So I want to tell you about this company, Beam. Support for the Don Lemon Show today comes from Beam. Okay. Summer's almost here. Let's be honest. That doesn't mean that we can slow down and that we can take a break, because life keeps going. So I have trouble sleeping. So Beam sent me, so that I could test it, this powder that's like a little shake, and it comes with that little hand mixer, and you can mix it like a little shake into a glass, and you drink this glass before bed. I got to tell you, Tim and I both took it, and before you know it, we were like asleep on the couch and fell asleep on the couch, woke up halfway in the middle of the night, went and got into bed, because it helps you sleep, and it is natural. It's not some harsh chemical. Okay. So that's why I turned to Beam's Dream Powder. It's a dream powder. It is a natural sleep blend designed to help you get the deep restorative rest your brain and your mind need to stay in the fight. You've got to get that REM sleep. You've got to get the rest, because here's the truth. You can't sustain the fight without rest. Burnout serves the people in power who'd love nothing more than to see you exhausted and to see you checked out. Okay. So since I started using Beam, my focus came back. You can see the energy I have returned. I'm ready to face the day, ready to stand up for the things that matter, coming to speak with you every day and talk to you and get you on the right track. I'm not the only one. Beam's Dream Powder has improved more than over 17.5 million nights of sleep for people across the country. Oh, and did I mention it tastes incredible? It's smooth, delicious, and easy to add to your nightly routine. It's simple, effective, and it works. It's like having a glass of milk or a little shake before sleep, before you go to bed. Okay. So right now, Beam is offering up to 40% off. Did you hear that? 40% off of their best-selling Dream Powder for my listeners. It is a limited time offer and the perfect way to overcome the exhaustion and stay in the fight every day. So go to shopbeam.com. Shopbeam.com, shopbeam.com. Use the code LEMON at checkout. Shopbeam.com/lemon and use that code LEMON at checkout for up to 40% off. Sleep well, wake up ready. The fight continues on. Let me tell you this. I don't wake up groggy. I wake up with energy. I get right out of bed, and it is amazing. All right. I would not tell you things. If they send me a product and I don't like it, doesn't make it on the show. I get rid of it. Okay. And so I'm telling you about the things that I like. Okay. So I want you guys, as we go back into this story and tell you the truth about what's going on in South Africa and this whole idea of a South African genocide, slow or whatever, among farmers. I want you to play that interview that I did a year ago. And I just want you to look at the expression on the face. And you can play, Andy, you can play it out, because I say I care about suffering of all different types. But just play it. Now watch the expression on the face, as if I've been told something that I did not know, or something that would surprise me. Or you can pause it if you want to. But I want you to watch the expression on the face after he says this to me. You ready? Watch.
Yeah, I only have up to where we played it last time, but I'll play it again.
That's okay. And you can pause it at the end if you want. But I want
South Africa, I mean, look at what happened with apartheid. It seems to me that you should be someone who is more understanding of that, considering where you came from, considering your history. Yeah. There's a slow white genocide going on in South Africa. Do you care about that?
Okay. That's it. So, according to the government, there is no slow or other genocide going on in South Africa at all. At all. And I want to show you, first off, how South Africans are being welcomed to the United States. Okay. I think it's better. Don't you guys think it's better if we show it the other way around? Let me just show you the treatment of some people whose family members are either being removed from the country, are being taken away from their homes. Some of them are migrants. Many of them are not here illegally. A number of them are not here illegally. There's been no proof, no evidence for the people that they are locking up or taking away. But let me just show you how some of the folks are being treated, and family members who are here legally in this country. Let's show some of that, Andy.
Stop! Stop, ma'am! Stop! 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 Your arms. Your arms. I got her arms. Stop. She's under arrest. Arrest her right now. You're under arrest.
Okay, so let me tell you what's going on here. They were coming to get this, apparently, and correct me if I'm getting this wrong, producers. ICE was coming to arrest or to deport this woman, this young lady's mother, and she was freaking out because they were coming to get her mother, and so they wanted to arrest her because she was upset. And then they're like, arrest her and do this. So this is how they're treating people. And again, not all of these people are here illegally, and not all of them have been given due process. Okay? And that's how they are being treated. ICE brutalizes woman in Worcester, Mass. This is what is happening. Let me tell you what is happening here. Show the Family Guy thing. This is what's happening. If you're a refugee here, if you are claiming asylum, all those things, it all depends, right? So if you're white up to tan, you're a refugee. If you're a little bit past tan to black, then you are a criminal. I don't see a lie there. I think it's the truth. Now stay with me here, because I want to show you how they're welcomed to this country when they come in. The Christopher Landau, who's a deputy secretary of state, says, hey, we welcome you to our country, after they have said that they want to what? Cut down on immigration in this country. Watch this. The sound is, I'll talk to you through it. The sound is a little low, but just listen. You can listen. You can hear it. Now, obviously, this is a show that they put on, right? To bring these families in. And there's a different show. I don't know. Do we have the ASMRs videos about how what they do when they push people out? And then Christopher Landau. Here we go. Welcome. He said, welcome to the United States of America.
It is such an honor for us to receive you here today.
An honor to receive you.
This is the land of the free.
Land of the free.
We know that all of you have faced. I'm Chris Landau. First of all, let me introduce myself. I'm the Deputy Secretary of State of the United States. This is my friend Troy Edgar.
Yeah, I'm the Deputy Secretary of Homeland Security. Again, welcome. So great to have you guys here.
I know you've gone through a long flight. I cannot believe there are babies and children who are actually so well behaved. This is much better than mine are. So bless you for that. And I think it's so happy. It makes me so happy to see you with our flag in your hands, and that flag symbolizes liberty for so many of us. Many of us, our families have had a journey not that different from the journey that you are embarking on today. My own father was born in Europe and had to leave his country when Hitler came in the 1930s, and made his way to South America first and then eventually to the United States. So he is an immigrant who actually, was able to benefit from the many blessings of this country. And one of the reasons that I really wanted to go and work for the government is because I wanted to.
So you guys get what I'm saying. You understand what's going on, okay? And you saw what happened and how they treated this young lady who was freaking out. Who wouldn't if you're about to take your mother away from you? And this is what they do to brown folks that have not been given due process. I imagine some of them are good people, but not all of them. You saw what all the reports have indicated, the investigations, that not all people that they are deporting from this country have actual criminal records. Now, here's the difference. Okay. Do I even need to say another word? Because those folks are depicted in media as criminals and murderers and all of these things, but they are giving no evidence that it is true. But they want to get those images out there that brown folks, immigrants are bad, that immigrants that come from certain countries are bad. But the white immigrants are good. And there's no, like, they're not soft peddling it. This is one they're not soft peddling. This is one that they are just pushing right in your face. We want to welcome you to our country. You've had a long flight. Oh my gosh, your babies are so whatever. And then watch what he says about, he's saying the quiet part out loud about why he's so happy that these white people are coming to our country. Just here it is.
Thank you very much. I just wanted to know, there were many, from the BBC. There are many people who fit the criteria of seeking help, who are fleeing persecution. Afghans, for example, I mean, they live in a country run by the Taliban, but they're being denied refugee status. So I'm wondering, why has such an exception been made for the Afrikaans, especially when the South African government says they're not in danger? And are you going to open up the refugee settlement program for others?
Thank you for that question. I think you may recall that on the president's first day in office, on January 20th of this year, he issued an executive order that paused U.S. refugee programs that had been going at record levels under the prior administration and had brought in people that we were not sure had been carefully vetted for national security issues, and put a pause on the refugee admission program in general. That pause, of course, was subject from the very beginning to exceptions where it was determined that this would be in the interest of the United States. Some of the criteria are making sure that refugees did not pose any challenge to our national security and that they could be assimilated easily into our country. So the president on February 7th issued an executive order about the egregious conditions in South Africa.
That they would assimilate into our country. Do you get what that means? That they would easily assimilate into our country. They're not even trying to hide it. What are they saying? What are they saying here? All I hear, says Lady Nikki, is we are racists. But they will pretend that they're not. And the media won't say, like, they should open the show and said, the United States did something that was the most egregious and blatantly racist thing that could happen in this country in the modern era. And producers, I have someone dialing in who we can put on to talk about this. And that John Boyd Jr. is going to join us in just moments. John is a black farmer, and he just texted me. I don't know if he's there or not. Is John there?
Yes, I'm here, Don.
John, we're talking about the white Afrikaners who were allowed into the country and what that means for the black folks and the black farmers. What's going to end up in the black farmers who've lost so much land over the decades here in the United States because of the racist policies. What does this do? What does this mean? When you see this, what do you think?
Well, Don, this is a slap in the face to America's black farmers right now. Here you have the President of the United States flying in white farmers from Africa by charter plane. Now who's paying for that, Don? This administration always talks about conserving dollars and all these things. Bringing in white farmers to the United States, giving them a path to citizenship. And they're making people of color in this country, immigrants, leave here by the boatload, Don, and you're bringing white farmers in. This administration has said time and time again, they don't want nothing to do with DEI or anything by race. And here it is,
solely by race, Don, that they're bringing white farmers to the United States and giving them path to citizenship. And we can't get our land out of federal inventory. As you know, you've interviewed me many times about the land and inventory that lie dormant that came from black farmers. They're bringing them here, and they're going to provide them, Don, with the homestead, from what I'm being told, resources to farm, and they're asking other community-based groups to support the initiatives of white farmers. And here I am. I've been farming in this country, fourth generation farmer, for 42 years. I'm on my farm right now, Don. I do not have a farm operating loan right now as I speak to you. I've been turned down by 3 lending institutions in the United States that have not granted me access to credit because of his tariffs, the president's tariffs that made crop prices low. Corn, wheat, and soybeans, the very commodities that I raise, and beef cattle that I have right out here in my pasture out here, are all regulated by the markets. This president is running black farmers out of business right now by not granting them access to credit. They're closing up USDA offices. The Office of Civil Rights is in total disarray. This administration is America's worst nightmare for black farmers and black people in this country.
And they're bringing him here on a lie because of the Expropriation Act in South Africa. They're saying that they're trying to level the playing field, right? The Expropriation Act. But what they're saying, they're claiming that white farmers, there's a white genocide among white people and white farmers in South Africa. And the numbers and the information, just the facts don't bear it out. What do you talk to me about that? And what do you suspect is behind this? And who do you think he's getting this information from? Because clearly his information is wrong.
I want to clear something up. They keep talking about reverse discrimination that these white farmers from South Africa has faced. It's not true. Don, they own 90% of the land is owned by white farmers. It's not owned by black people in South Africa, people. And they keep talking about it's reverse discrimination. It is not reverse discrimination. In fact, I'm going to say this, and I may get in a little trouble. Everywhere that the white man is winning this in the world, they managed to steal all of the land. They stole the land in Africa. They stole all the land in the United States. And there is a historical pattern that what they're doing now, they don't want us out. They don't want me out here farming, Don. You know, that's why it seems I have a difficult time getting a loan from my own federal government and the banking system that I live in. This is by design, and it was crafted on behalf of Elon Musk and Stephen Miller are the two hands that crafted and put this mess together, this whole fiasco. And we spoke about this about a month or so ago, Don, about what they were trying to do. And now you're saying that they're courting other states to help them in this. In this case, the governor of Virginia, who helped bring him into Dulles Airport by a private charter, people. Somebody paid for this. And they're asking other civic groups to get involved and support this initiative. When have you heard this president ask for other organizations to help black farmers who can't get loans in this country? When have you heard this president address the historic pattern of land loss by black farmers in this country? That's what we need to be talking about. 20 million acres at the turn of the century. Today, we're down to 3 million acres of land. And guess what, Don? You can't, I'm not going to say you can't, but it's very, very difficult to maintain a farming operation, especially of the magnitude that I have here, 2,000 acres in Virginia, without access to credit. And this administration knows that. So shame on the president for orchestrating a mass conspiracy to take away access to black farmers and bring white farmers into this country and grant them and roll out the carpet for them. They rolled out the carpet for them, Don.
Wow, John. And you think about over the years, it's raining where you are. If you need to get inside, you can. But look, you're a farmer.
Well, you know what? I'm so upset about this. I'm so upset about this, Don. And man, look here. Thank you. You are the face, man, that continues to stay on these issues that really face our people that other journalists won't touch. They won't touch it, Don. This need to be a top tier story on every black person's social media outlets right now, Instagram, whatever you're doing out there. This story right now and how it affects Black America, the way he's bringing white farmers. It's not Africans and all these other terminologies that they're using. These are white farmers and their families, Don.
Mm-hmm.
They flew them in and they rolling out the red carpet for them. But in this country, you're looking at a fourth generation, and this is my farm here, Don. Take a look at it. It's not too shabby here. Fourth generation farmer that can't get access to credit in the United States with a proven track record of being a successful farmer in this country. Shame on this administration.
I don't know if you've been watching the show or what, but I've been saying look, this is my first show back since I had a death in the family, John. And that was the first thing I said is that I'm sitting there watching a little bit that I know of what's going on because I've been dealing with things that are much more personal and important to me. That there were two stories that I thought were the most outrageous and that should be at the top of everyone's radar. And that's this lie about tariffs, which is affecting farmers as well. He does not have a deal with China. This is not good stuff. And also what's happening with this lie about a white genocide in South Africa and bringing these Afrikaners here. These are not poor people. According to their government and according to all the records and the research, they are not being discriminated against. They aren't being treated harshly. The government is the Democratic government there is just trying to level the playing field, similarly to what they tried to do back in the day with black farmers. And then all of a sudden, Jim Crow came around and they're like, we can't not be making equity among farmers and giving them some of the land. We want all of the land and we don't want to share. This is the Pickford v. Glickman, right? The lawsuit that laid bare that thousands of black farmers were cheated out of billions in wealth, forced to sell their land or lose it to foreclosure. And now I'm told that it's down to 1.5 million acres. You're saying it's 3 million acres, but still, that's a lot.
Well, it's and Don, I want the people who are watching this, Black America, to think about their forefathers. I don't know many Black Americans that hasn't came from some farm out here in the South or Arkansas, Louisiana, or Mississippi, where their forefathers were farmers in this country. Nobody has ever provided Black people in this country with a homestead, a path. We had to fight for the right to vote in this country, man. He's bringing these white farmers in and giving them everything that we had to fight for in this country. We never got a homestead. We never got the land. We got the land after the Civil War when the money wasn't exchanged, Don, and Black people were able to buy land. And like my grandfather said, he paid for his farm 5 times, probably over by the time he finished paying for it, time the landowner finished cheating him. I'm telling you these stories because this is the way that Black America has been treated. But guess what, Don? I got a message for this president. We serve a man that's sitting high and looking low. and he's better than Donald Trump. And my grandmother's name was Ruth Robinson. She was a sharecropper, Don. And guess what she would say? You keep on doing wrong, and there's a stick out yonder up there with your name on it. There's a stick out yonder with Donald Trump's name on it. And guess what? He's going to step on it before long. This is too much dirt to be doing at one time in this country.
Yeah. Well, look, John, I thank you for hopping on here, and we're going to continue to put this story at the top of people's radar. We're going to make sure that they cover it again because this is outrageous, and I appreciate what you said, everything you said about me and informing people, because I'm just shocked at how many of my colleagues have fallen down on the job and that they're this false equivalency and this normalization of what's going on and trying to pretend that it's somehow normal and there's a normal way to cover it. It's just unbelievable to me. So, John, thank you. And
Don, thank you for having me. And if people can support us, blackfarmers.org. We need help, and we need it right now. Thank you, Don. God bless you, brother.
You as well. John Boyd Jr., everybody, blackfarmers.org. And again, you need to support the Black independent journalists. I'm just going to be honest with you, because we're the folks out here, again, trying to tell you these stories because they are getting squashed and they are being sidelined and marginalized. So make sure you hit the like, you hit the thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe and become a member to our channel. It means the world to us. It really does mean the world to us. So thank you so much for doing that. I'm going to talk to you guys about tariffs later. I think I've kept you long enough. At 5 o'clock, I'll discuss with you, unless there's some other news that happens, about how this was not a win for Donald Trump, these tariffs, and how these tariffs are actually affecting Black farmers. And they're affecting not only that, but even Donald Trump's own supporters around the country, even more so, I believe, than anyone else. There is no relief from the tariffs. There is no win for Donald Trump. There's no win for the administration. It's only a loss for the American people. And for the media trying to pretend like there is a trade deal. There's no trade deal. This is not good. They're doing this to affect the market, Scott Bessent and whatever, so that the markets are positive because Donald Trump cares about it. That's all he cares about. In the meantime, cost of goods are going up. And now you're in limbo for the next 90 days to see what they're going to do. You know what that only does? That only pushes it closer to the holidays and closer to Christmas, where you don't know if you're going to be able to get the stuff that you want for your kids. And so now he's going to say, instead of like 5 Barbies, you're going to have half a Barbie. He said 2 before, dolls, or whatever he said. It's just ridiculous and outrageous. So look, guys, thank you for putting up with me, my first day back. Thank you for continuing to support the channel, even when I couldn't be here. I wanted to be here. I just couldn't. I hope you guys understand that. I'm going to write about it. What the last 2 weeks for me have just been, honestly, it's just been hell. Yeah. And sometimes, I just wonder like what the next day is going to be like, but one foot in front of the other. I'm so glad that I've been dealing with mental health. BetterHelp. Make sure you do that. Make sure you eat well. Make sure you get some sleep. So all of the things that I talk to you about on this channel those are things that will help improve your life, not to take away from your life. Okay. So please support us, continue to support us, become a member and subscribe. Just because you're watching, just because you're a member, doesn't mean that you're subscribed. Make sure you check out the subscribe button right at the bottom of the screen, right next to the Don Lemon Show logo, and become a member for our program. Because that's how we stay on these streaming streets. So you guys always know what I say when I'm about to leave you, because I'm getting phone calls from people saying, you're supposed to be in a meeting right now. You're supposed to be doing this. You're supposed to be doing that. I think I'm going to extend this show. Do you guys mind? I'm going to extend the show and let the producers do finish up and let them do to the top of the hour. Do you guys want to do to the top of the hour without me? Nikki, Peter, Andy? I don't know if you want to.
We can.
If you guys want to talk, because I think it's important, you guys, to talk about what we discussed about the truth about what's happening in South Africa. And Peter can talk to you better because he's more researched on it, on this Expropriation Act and exactly, about Afrikaners. Afrikaners are not poor people who are marginalized, right, Peter? In general.
Correct. Yes, we're generalizing, but no, this is not some oppressed class, not by any means.
All right. If you guys want to stay on, maybe we'll do it tomorrow. I will let you guys finish the show if you want to stay on until noon, but if you don't, then I'm going to leave.
I can hop on. Nikki, right. Do you have calls or anything?
I have a call at noon.
All right. So you guys stay on until noon. And so before you leave, make sure you tell the folks to turn the TV off. I'm not going to tell them now because you guys are on it, on their form of TV. So I'm just going to say, before I leave, I'll see you guys a little bit. So I'll say, stay woke. Okay. See you guys later. Have fun. Enjoy the show.
Damn, that was excellent. John Boy Jr., such a good friend of the show. We love having him on. Such a good conversation this morning. Lemonheads, let us know what you want us to continue talking about. We can stay on the topic of South Africa. We can do some more on the Afrikaners, or we can chat about Trump's tariffs, the walk back, and all of the chaos that these fake negotiations are causing in the economy. But first, Nikki, how are you doing?
I'm fantastic. I know I told you guys yesterday that was the last you were going to see us for a bit, so
surprise!
Hi, surprise! We're here.
Fake
Sorry,
news.
I did not dress up today, but
no, I too. Don did sort of spring this on us. I have my setup here, and then I also have an app on my phone where I can listen and follow along with the show and do some fact checks if Don needs me to. And I had to scurry my butt back to my seat and get ready. Oh my goodness. So, all right. Andy, I'm going to check our elements list. Let's see what we haven't played just yet. Do we want to... Oh, you know what? Can we play the PBS panel? This is Tamara Keith on PBS chatting about the Trump tariffs. I think it's a good breakdown from yesterday evening.
We awoke this morning to news of a 90-day truce in President Trump's trade war with China. Tam, based on your reporting, was this the plan all along? Be tough on tariffs, hope that China flinches and negotiate a deal? Or was just the turmoil in the markets and the economy just too much for this administration to bear?
The plan all along is tariffs. President Trump is someone who has talked about wanting there to be tariffs against pretty much every country in the world on imports from everywhere. He has always wanted to be tougher on China. What happened here is essentially the tariff level that President Trump imposed on China, and then China retaliated, and then the U.S. retaliated, and then it got to a level where it was essentially a trade embargo. You know, whether it's 80% or 100% or 135%, those goods are not being transferred between the countries. And so where they are now is 30% for imports to the U.S. and 10% for imports to China. That is in the neighborhood of what President Trump had discussed on the campaign trail, which at the time was roundly rejected by economists and others who said that that would disadvantage American consumers, would make things more expensive, would hurt small businesses. But now it's like, wow, those tariffs really came down. This is such a dramatic reduction from where it was. So in a way, President Trump has, by imposing these so-called reciprocal tariffs that are extremely high, conditioned people to be okay with the tariffs that he truly has been talking about all along. If you'll note
Let's kill this, Andy. Thank you. So I see in the chat, August de Winter and a number of other folks have said, you know what, let's actually stick on South Africa. So we'll circle back to South Africa in just a second. But Nikki, I know you have a line that you've mentioned in editorial calls this morning and on previous ones. And if we could also throw up the one full screen that tracks, it's the graph of where the China tariff has been over the past couple of months. Nikki, you have a great spiel about how Trump loves to create a chaotic mess and then walks it back and calls it a victory. Can you explain that to the Lemonheads? I love this monologue of yours.
Yeah, it's a signature move to create chaos, destroy something, then not fix it entirely, but like slap a Band-Aid on it and be like, I did it. It was me all along. I won. And for some reason, this seems to work with the MAGA crowd. Like if you take the tariffs, for example, these massive tariffs that we put, this essentially an embargo on China, walked it back a bit. Let's be honest, it was because of public sentiment. Walked it back. We are still at a far worse place than we were before he started all this tariff nonsense. And now he's claiming it as a win. This is what I wanted all along. But if you look at us pre-Liberation Day versus us now, we're still in a worse place. So all he did was smash something to pieces, pretends to fix a little bit of it, and then say, it was me, I did it. I fixed the situation that I created.
I saw someone in the chat call him an arsonist firefighter, and I couldn't agree more. I think that's a perfect way of putting it. So, Nikki, for those of you who missed the conversation, I'll put a link at the top of the chat. We were so lucky to have a conversation with Jamel Hill last night, contributing writer for The Atlantic and a good friend of the show. And one of the things that I brought up with Jamel, and Don touched on this earlier in the show, is that it's so interesting that Trump yesterday at his press conference in the Oval, I believe, was willing to use the G word, was willing to use genocide to describe the violence that's taking place on some South African homesteads over the last few years. And Don pulled up the receipts. The BBC reported that over the course of 2024, according to the South African police, there were approximately 44 unalivings that took place on homesteads, on farms across the country. If memory serves, 8 of those individuals were farmers, and they also came from multiracial, diverse backgrounds. So we don't even know exactly how many of those 8 were white. But that to me is just so frustrating, Nikki, because again, to echo what Don said, it's frankly it's fucking deplorable. It's disgusting and so disheartening to see administration willing to use the G word when it comes to, say, 8 farmers. But then whether it be the horror show that's happening in Ukraine or the horror show that's happening in Gaza, to just be so flippant about it, to not really care. Seems like Trump has walked away from the negotiating table with Russia and Zelensky. It seems like he's really allowing Netanyahu to do whatever he wants in Gaza.
Yeah, he's going to develop it.
Yeah. What did he call it? He wants to turn it into the Riviera.
The Riviera of the Middle East or something like that.
Yeah. So Nikki, talk to me about why is it really just racism or well, there you go.
It really is. And
Yeah.
they've made this so clear throughout his entire campaign, his first presidency. We all knew what they wanted to do. They're just doing it so blatantly right now that I think a lot of people are a little shocked that we knew you felt this way, but you're just saying it now. You're just doing it. I cannot see another argument for this.
Yeah.
We all knew that the way they're treating refugees in this country is racism. The way that we are deporting people in such an inhumane manner without due process. But now that they've presented this such a stark contrast of bringing these white farmers over that, let's be honest, they're not facing any kind of persecution over there. It's right in your face. This is what they're doing. What is the difference here? Obviously. One group looks different than the other.
If folks, some of the lemon heads in the chat didn't catch our conversation with Jamel Hill last night, or if you didn't see one of our episodes last week where I talked about my history and my career path, one of my first jobs in journalism actually was as a political reporter based in Johannesburg at a great outlet called the Mail and Guardian. In fact, later this week, we're hoping to chat with one of my former colleagues, my former boss, Kiri Rupaya, who is also a dear friend, to talk about just this issue. But it's hard to convey. I know that most of you have probably watched some documentaries about apartheid or about the history of South Africa, about Nelson Mandela and his Rainbow Coalition. I'm sure some of you have read about it or taken schools about the history of the country in college or maybe even in high school. But it's impossible to convey just the brutality, the horror of the legacy of apartheid in South Africa. Granted, I was there, it's a few years back at this point, but I was there for about 6 months, and I lived in a neighborhood called Rosebank in Johannesburg. And maybe some of you in the chat will be familiar with Rosebank, but it's a very well-to-do area. It's where the newspaper put me up. And it was about maybe it's a 10 or 15 minute walk or say a 5-minute drive into Johannesburg proper to get to where the newspaper was located. And in Rosebank, there are beautiful houses surrounded by massive gardens. It's breathtakingly beautiful. And around every single house, you have about 10, 12, 15-foot walls with electric fencing over the top. And then if you're walking around the neighborhood, automated gates open and close so cars and people can walk in and out into these sort of mini mansions. And then in the streets, every few minutes, you'll see trucks roll through with young, usually black men sitting in the back, hawking Kalashnikov rifles, acting as private security in Rosebank, in these other neighborhoods like Rosebank. And you can walk, say, 10 minutes in any direction, and you'll find yourself in slums and in utter poverty. And that's not even getting into the townships. We can then talk about Soweto and some of these other townships where Black South Africans were forced into during the worst periods of apartheid. And it's so bleak and so disheartening. And just, it's so appalling to me. You know, I disagree with Elon Musk on a host of different political issues, but it's his particular focus on trying to sell this myth of the slow white genocide that really gets me. Because if you spent any time in South Africa, and obviously he has, because he was born and raised in the twilight of apartheid, to say that this is like there's an evil plot against whites in South Africa, that they are this oppressed minority, is so cruel and evil if you actually have experienced what it's like to live there, if you actually know the history of the country. It's one of the worst and most abhorrent lies that I've heard come from this administration, and that is really saying something.
That's saying something.
Yeah. I'm seeing some folks in the chat. They have, yes, Rosebank has a cool art depot. It does. It does have beautiful art there. I'm seeing some other people in the chat saying, yes, they are not persecuted. They are not oppressed. Of course, Shalina Crowley says, thank you for this info, Peter. Anytime. No, I'm hoping that we can get to chat with Akiri again, my boss, because she is a very talented journalist and has lived in Johannesburg, I believe, her entire life. So she definitely can shed some light on this situation. Tale of Two South Africas. Yes, Miss Lavender. Absolutely. I agree with that. The Ministry of Light says, please do not wear torn jeans. You are helping to drag down society into the gutter. Not exactly the topic of today's conversation, but I appreciate the advice. Jennifer Griffin says, interview Trevor Noah, please. I would love to talk to Trevor Noah. Nikki, did you ever get to watch Trevor Noah much when he was the host of The Daily Show?
I did, yeah. Back in the day.
Did you read his biography by any chance?
I did not.
Oh, highly recommend. I'm not usually the type of person who likes celebrity biographies. I mean, usually they're ghostwritten in the first place, and then there's not usually anything interesting that comes out of them. I love Don's books, of course. Actually, I'm reading right now Andre Agassi's biography, which is actually quite compelling because his father sort of was extremely abusive and forced him into playing tennis. And it's a beautiful meditation on what it means to be so talented, be so good at something you hate because you were forced into it. And then to circle back, Trevor Noah's is like the best celebrity biography I've ever read because he talks about growing up in sort of the slums and the not well-to-do areas of South Africa. And he was raised by his grandmother and was quite a little prankster, quite a little troublemaker as a kid. And it's also
try to get him.
funny.
I believe we have tried to get him on the show in the past, but there were some scheduling problems. But
Lucila Chavez says, what happened to Don? Don is back. Don has been hosting for the entire show. Lucia, you can go back and watch from the beginning. We're just stepping in for these final few minutes to give you guys a little extra.
We just wanted to hang out with you guys for longer.
Yeah, little lemon drop, lemon plus. We'll have to come up with a nickname for whatever this ends up being. Okay, but let us know in the chat. We'll just stay with you for another couple minutes. Tell us what you'd like us to cover, and by us, I mean Don, what you would like Don to cover at 5 p.m., because there is so much in the news right now. I put up a poll earlier in the show about some of the lesser-known stories of the day. We could talk about Laura Loomer turning on Trump over this brazenly corrupt Qatari plane gift/grift. We could talk about Kash Patel and his disastrous hearing in front of one of the congressional committees, him apparently totally sleeping on the job and going to UFC fights with other celebs. We could talk about Diddy. Today, I believe Cassie Ventura is going to take the stand. I'm sure that will be quite something.
And tariffs. I know Don promised, Lady Nikki, to dive into the tariffs tonight, or this lie about having a tariff win.
Ron Stream in the chat says United Healthcare CEO stepping down. I just saw that actually before we came on the air. That is a fascinating story. I believe he cited quote unquote personal reasons for it. Very interesting. Of course, folks will likely remember that Brian Thompson was the former United Healthcare CEO who was allegedly killed by Luigi Mangione late last year. Very interesting. Did you talk about David Hogg? No, we have not yet talked about David Hogg. We actually considered
discussed it this morning.
covering that this morning.
Before
let us know. Lemonheads, do you know who David Hogg is? Do you know about all of the chaos at the DNC? They're trying to unseat him as the, I think, deputy party chair. Let's see.
It looks like quite a few are aware of the situation, so I think it is something we can definitely dive into.
Yeah, we can touch on it.
And for those of you that don't, you can sit with us and learn about it.
Patel and Loomer. Of course, we're happy to sit in and help educate and inform you guys. Afrikaners and the airlines and the tariffs. We got plenty to talk about.
It's just another day in 2025.
Indeed. Well, Nikki, you've got some calls to do. We've got some work to do. So would you like to sign off the Lemon Nation?
It is always a pleasure being with you, Lemon Nation, and you'll probably be seeing us from time to time. Though we won't bombard you with our faces too much because I know you all missed Don terribly, as did we. So we're all so happy to have him back. And thank you so much for all your kindness while we were on and putting up with us. And we so enjoyed being with you guys. But for now, turn the TV off.
Thanks everyone for watching. Your support means the world to us. So make sure you hit the like button and you subscribe to our channel to make sure that you never ever miss a video. We're live every day, 10 a.m. Eastern time. We drop even more content at 2 p.m. Eastern and 5 p.m. Eastern. And if you want more Don Lemon Show content, we'd love for you to become a member of the Lemon community, where you will receive access to special community posts. You'll get exclusive content and members-only live shows. So head over to our channel page or click the join button on this video. Again, thank you for watching. We appreciate your love and your support, and we will see you.